We're a family of three travelling the world on a budget, and today I'm telling you the actual numbers. What we spend each month, what we don't spend on, and the mistakes that nearly doubled our budget in the beginning. If you're watching this and thinking, I wish we could do that, but we can't afford it, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Kath, and we are the Real Travel Family. And around 18 months ago, we left the UK because we were sick of waiting for the right time. We travel the world slowly, budget conscious, but we still enjoy life. And today I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm going to walk you through our real monthly budget in Asia, what we actually spend on food, accommodation, transport, the hidden costs that no one ever tells you about, and the mistakes that we made so that you don't have to. And if you're thinking about traveling the world with your family, but you're feeling stuck with fears around money, I've created the Real Family Travel on a Budget Guide, a no fluff 9-page guide that shows you exactly where families waste money traveling and what to do instead. Head to the description to grab your copy today. Let's start with the big question. How much does it cost to travel as a family of three? The answer depends on your pace, destination, and lifestyle, but I'm going to give you our real numbers. Monthly average budget in Asia obviously varies from country to country. For example, accommodation in India is costing us around £350 per month for a 2-bedroom apartment. If you're going to go to a more expensive country, such as Thailand or Bali, you can expect to pay anywhere from £600 to £900 per month. Food is usually cheap. You can do it very, very cheap, or you can splurge. We spend somewhere between £350 to £500 per month, but that would be eating in tourist places as well as local places. Obviously, if you just eat where locals eat, you can spend less than half of this. Transport, we use scooters normally, but the occasional taxi or train or maybe a bus, anywhere from £50 a month to £100 a month, depending on how you get about. Activities and sightseeing, we spend around £50 to £150 per month. Work and learning hubs, of course, these are optional. I sometimes work from a co-working hub, and Jai sometimes attends World Schooling Hubs. These are going to cost you a bit more money, and they completely vary from hub to hub, from country to country. SIM cards and data, £10 to £20 a month. Insurance, averaged out over the year, we spend around £50 per month on average over the year, but obviously it depends on the amount of cover that you need and how big your family is. And then flights, again, this is averaged out over the year. We could spend thousands if we're flying to the UK or Australia, or just £50 to £100 for flights around Southeast Asia. One other really good tip is to stop thinking in pounds. If you keep comparing all the local prices to how much that works out to in pounds, you will be spending way more than you should be. Just because a meal out costs about £15, which is really cheap for England, is actually really expensive for a lot of Asian countries. Try to change your mindset so you are thinking in the local currency and how much things are actually worth in the local prices. A lot about budget travel is actually removing the expenses that drain your money when you're at home. So, for example, no car payments, no UK rents or mortgage payment, especially if you're staying somewhere long term, if you're going away long term. No constant Amazon purchases and other unnecessary spending that we do all the time. Fewer birthdays and holiday stuff. No expensive commutes, and eating local and in season rather than imported food. Most families think that travel is extra money, but for many it's actually a swap. You're replacing the cost of expensive day-to-day UK life with cheaper everyday life somewhere else. Okay, mistakes do happen, and we have made plenty. So the first one is just moving too fast. Flights and Shorter stays completely blow your budget. If you're going to be moving around constantly, if you're doing a big trip that involves lots of different countries, lots of different cities, you are going to be spending a lot on transport, a lot on flights, a lot on accommodation that is going to cost more because it's shorter term. Slow travel has really saved us financially. Second mistake is booking accommodation online without checking any long stay discounts. So we do normally book 1 or 2 nights in a hotel if we are flying to a brand new place and we don't know the area, or if we're going to arrive late at night and we just want to find somewhere to crash. But if you're booking weeks and months stays on Airbnb or booking.com, there's a good chance that you're going to be paying more than what you would if you were actually on the ground looking for somewhere to stay. Dealing directly with the accommodation and with the host is always going to be cheaper. You're going to have more bartering power. You can see the rooms, you can see the area. And if you're going to be staying somewhere for more than a couple of weeks, I really recommend doing your research when you're actually there rather than online. You could end up booking something that costs twice as much, is in an area you don't want to be in, and maybe isn't quite what you want anyway. Mistake number 3 was eating like we did in the UK. There is nothing wrong with the occasional pizza, burger, Western food. Of course, we all crave that sometimes, and some days all I want is a cheese sandwich. But if you're eating like that all the time, if you're always eating in the tourist restaurants at tourist prices, your budget will be going down very, very, very fast. We try to mix things up. So as much as possible, we try to eat like the locals do. So we eat in local restaurants, on the street with street food, and away from the tourist centres. That way, you're going to save a lot of money. You're going to get to try some really amazing food that you don't get to try in the tourist areas. And you have a lot of fun doing it. It's more of an adventure. And then save the pizza places, the burger places, the Western places for a couple of times a week for treats. Don't deny yourself. Don't deny your kids, obviously. If they need a pizza, that's okay. But just not every day. The 4th mistake we made was not tracking our spending. So we thought we were spending a lot less until we checked what we spent. Then we could start to see where things were actually leaking. Maybe we were spending more on expensive meals than we realized, or sometimes things like drinks add up more than the food does. If you're having alcohol a lot, or if your kids are having things like milkshakes all the time, sometimes that can cost more than the meal. So once you start tracking where your money is going, you can see where you can start to tighten up, and then you can see where you can spend a bit less and have money for something that you really want to do instead. Mistake number 5, packing the wrong things. If you're overpacking, you might end up having to buy extra kilos at the airport, which is never something you want to be doing. But also, if you don't pack the right things, if you pack the wrong things, then you're going to end up buying what you need when you get there. So just do a bit of research and think about what you're actually going to need in your destination rather than what you think you might need if you were in the UK still. So this is an exact breakdown of our last month in Goa. We have rented a small apartment not too far from the beach in a little location called Rajbag near Patnam, and it cost us about £350 per month. It's 2-bedroom, it's got a kitchen, it's got 2 balconies, washing machine, aircon. Food for us each month costs around about £420. That's eating out, that's a little bit of shopping and eating out at the beach in the touristy places a couple of times a week. Hiring a scooter costs us about £60 per month with petrol as well. Jai's World School Hub here is about £300 a month, which isn't the cheapest, but it's 5 days a week, and he's loving it. Activities and sightseeing around £40, and then other bits and pieces about £95. So that's a grand total of £1,265 for the month of November here in Goa. When you see these exact numbers, I think it makes you realise that long-term travel isn't only for wealthy families. It's for families who decide to prioritise experience over stuff. If you want to travel as a family long-term, you're going to need 3 figures. First one is what you spend per month at home. So that's going to include obviously rent, food, transport, treats, activities that you do, everything. Like have a look at all of your figures and figure out what you spend per month in your normal lives. The second number is what long-term travel would cost you in your first destination. So if you're planning to go to Thailand, do some research around accommodation, food, transport, etc. in that destination, and just, it's a rough idea. Obviously, you don't know for sure, but get a rough idea of what you're going to potentially be spending each month. And then the third thing you need to think about is your safety buffer. How much do you want or need to have in your savings pot, as an emergency fund? So if you do need to fly home suddenly for some reason, or if something happens and you need an extra bit of money, or if your plans change and you want to do something different, how much do you feel safe and secure having in an account that you don't touch unless it's an emergency? When you compare your life and costs in the UK to your life and your costs in your destination country, most families are really shocked because travel is usually cheaper than life at home. And if this is something that's quite scary for you, money and traveling, we get it. Money is absolutely the number one fear we hear from people. So it's money in terms of how much will this cost? How much do we need? How much savings can we get? How are we going to pay our usual bills in the UK? How are we going to find the money to do this? How are we going to deal with the mortgage, the rent, credit card debts, anything else that you might have, car repayments? How much money do I need to be traveling long term? But actually, clarity creates confidence. When you know the figures, when you know your numbers, it's going to alleviate some of those fears because you can see on paper how much things are actually costing you at the moment versus how much things are actually going to cost you if you're in a different country. And then you can work on building your savings pot, reducing your spending when you're at home, and thinking about how you're going to save money when you're traveling. Honestly, we are not rich. We are not rich. We saved really, really hard when we were in the UK. We worked hard, we saved hard, we put money aside. We reduced our spending on things in the UK. So we stopped TV subscriptions, we stopped spending money on things that didn't really matter. We stopped going out as much to save more money. It wasn't fun, it wasn't, the most exciting time in our lives, but by working hard and saving hard, we managed to put away enough that we felt comfortable leaving. We also sold a lot of our belongings. So we have some of our belongings are in storage in the UK at my mum's, but then we sold a lot. I sold stuff on eBay, on Vinted, on Facebook Marketplace. I just sold as much stuff as I could to make more money. Then we also rented out our house. So we own property in the UK and we are renting that out. So the rent that we get helps fund our travels as well. And then finally, I work online. I sell guides to support other families do what we do. And I'm also a certified life coach, so I can also support families in reaching their goals. If this is your dream, if this is something that you really, really want in life, Don't let money be the thing that stops you. There is always a way around things. There is always a way. If you can maybe get a second job, maybe if you can earn some more money, save some more money somehow, sell some things, do what you need to do to have that little pot to start with. And then if you can find ways to work online, maybe it's really easy for you to do that, maybe it's more difficult, but if it's something that you'd like to do, there's always ways to find work online. Don't let money be the thing that stops you. It is one of the biggest reasons, I know, and it is one of the things that we have to deal with every day. Can we afford to do this, or do we want to spend that money on something else while we're traveling? But honestly, being overseas is so much cheaper than being in the UK anyway. So just day-to-day life is so much cheaper, and I think from that, life is easier. The sun's shining normally, you've got the beaches, you've got a whole different way of living, a whole different lifestyle, new people, new communities, and everyone is spending less, everyone is on a budget, everyone wants to save a few quid here and there. I've put everything we learned and used through our travels into a free guide called Real Family Travel on a Budget, and it shows our exact budget travel hacks and includes your budget travel checklist. And it's free to download, so just head down to the links below. And if you want more personalised, step-by-step help and support planning your travels for families who have the dream of travelling long-term but want that extra support, from budgeting to route planning to overcoming all of those fears, I offer one-to-one coaching and support. The links, again, are down below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and keep following for more real travel family hacks and advice to get you and your family seeing the world on a budget.